The man who ruled for just 199 days but changed Nigeria forever. Imagine becoming the most powerful man in Nigeria, changing the entire country in just a few months, making powerful enemies almost immediately. And then one morning, while driving to work, your car stops in traffic. Seconds later, gunfire, chaos, death. But here is the strange part. The man who ordered thousands of changes with immediate effect never saw his own death coming. How could Nigeria's military ruler, one of the most feared and admired leaders in the country's history, be assassinated in broad daylight? Who wanted him dead? Was it revenge? Power struggle? Military betrayal, or something much bigger? Today, we uncover the rise, power, enemies, assassination, and lasting mystery surrounding one of Nigeria's most unforgettable leaders, General Murtala Muhammed. Because the story is much darker than many people realize. Before becoming head of state, Murtala Muhammed was simply a young boy born in Kano on November 8, 1938. He grew up during colonial Nigeria and attended school before eventually joining the Nigerian military in the late 1950s. But from the beginning, people noticed something different. He was bold, aggressive, fearless. Some even described him as stubborn. He trained in military institutions in Britain, including Sandhurst, and rapidly rose through the ranks. His military career took him to peacekeeping missions during the Congo crisis, before Nigeria itself entered one of the most turbulent periods in its history. Then came 1966, the year Nigeria changed forever. Military coups, political assassinations, ethnic tensions, and Murtala would soon become one of the most important and controversial figures inside the army. But how exactly did he rise so quickly? The answer begins with blood, coups, and civil war. In January 1966, young military officers overthrew Nigeria's civil government. Months later came the counter-coup. Murtala Muhammed played an important role during the July 1966 military counter-coup that removed the government of General Ironsi and eventually brought military rule deeper into Nigerian politics. This period transformed him. He was no longer just another officer. He became one of the military's rising stars. Then came the Nigerian Civil War. Murtala commanded troops during the conflict and became known for his aggressive military style. Some admired his boldness, others criticized aspects of his wartime conduct. But one thing became clear: his reputation inside the military kept growing. By the early 1970s, he had already become one of Nigeria's youngest generals. Few people knew that this same officer would soon overthrow his own boss. July 1975, Nigeria was under military ruler General Yakubu Gowon. Many officers believed Gowon had delayed returning the country to civilian rule. Frustration grew. Then suddenly a coup happened. While Gowon attended an international summit abroad, military officers removed him from power. Murtala Muhammed emerged as the new head of state on July 29, 1975. And immediately Nigerians saw something different. He spoke fast, acted fast, ruled fast. His famous phrase, "with immediate effect," became legendary. Within days, the country felt like it had a new energy. People celebrated in streets. Many Nigerians saw him as a leader who could finally force change. But speed creates consequences. and Murtala was about to create many enemies. Here is where the story becomes complicated. Murtala ruled for only about 199 days. Yet, during that short time, he introduced massive reforms. He retired large numbers of civil servants. He dismissed military officers. He reorganized government institutions. He announced plans for a return of civilian rule. He initiated processes that eventually moved Nigeria's federal capital from Lagos toward Abuja. He created additional states. He pursued an active foreign policy that increased Nigeria's influence internationally. To supporters, he was decisive. To critics, he was reckless. Because imagine waking up one morning and discovering your career had ended. Thousands experienced exactly that. His reform created admiration, but they also created anger. And inside military government, anger can become dangerous. Here is a question rarely asked. Can a leader move too fast? Murtala government retired many powerful figures from military and civil service positions. Some lost influence, some lost power, some lost futures they had spent decades building. At the same time, critics accused his government of detentions without trial and overly centralized decision making. Meanwhile, political tensions inside the military kept increasing. Among those unhappy was a military officer who would soon become infamous, Lieutenant Colonel Bukar Suka Dimka. Why exactly did Dimka decide to strike? That answer will come violently. February 13, 1976, Lagos. Morning traffic. General Murtala Muhammed left for work. What happened next remained one of Nigeria's most shocking political assassinations. Unlike many leaders, Murtala reportedly traveled with relatively light security. His convoy entered traffic near Ikoyi. Then armed soldiers appeared. Gunfire exploded. His car was ambushed. Within moments, the head of state was dead. Also killed were members of his entourage, including his aide-de-camp and driver. Nigeria's ruler had been assassinated in broad daylight. He was only 37 years old, but the assassination itself was only part of the story. Because while bullets were flying, another operation had already begun. The assassination formed part of an attempted military coup. The coup was led primarily by Lieutenant Colonel Bukar Suka Dimka and allied officers. After the assassination, Dimka made broadcasts claiming the government had failed.
Of course, being a soldier, I made it a point of duty.
He accused the regime of corruption, poor governance, arrest without trial, and incompetency. These were among the reasons publicly presented during the attempted takeover. But here is what many forgot. Killing the head of state does not automatically mean you control the country. And very quickly, the coup started collapsing. Why? Because powerful military commanders refused to join. That decision changed Nigerian history. This is the biggest question, and the answer is complicated. Historians generally point to several overlapping factors. Firstly, military dissatisfactions. Many officers were angry about retirement, restructuring, and rapid changes. Secondly, loss of power. Military governments create winners and losers. Murtala created many losers quickly. Thirdly, political grievance. Dimka publicly accused the government of poor leadership and authoritarian practices. Fourthly, internal military rivalries. Nigerian military had already experienced repeated coups since 1966. Power struggles had become deeply embedded. Some theories have suggested foreign involvement. However, there is no widely accepted evidence proving foreign intelligence agencies orchestrated the assassinations. Claims remain largely speculative. The simplest explanation may also be the strongest. Murtala changed too much, too quickly, in a system filled with armed rivals. Here comes the twist. Despite killing the head of state, the coup failed. Senior military commanders moved rapidly. Key officers refused to support Dimka. Military units stayed loyal to the existing command structure. Within hours, the coup unraveled. Dimka escaped. Nigeria launched a massive manhunt. For weeks, authorities searched. Eventually, he was captured. Later, he and several others were tied to treason and executed. But another question remained. Who would replace Murtala? The answer would shape modern Nigeria. Following the failed coup, military leadership passed to Olusegun Obasanjo. Many feared Nigeria would collapse into further instability. Instead, the new government continued several policies initiated under Murtala. Plans for civilian transition continued. Eventually, military rule would give way to civilian government in 1979. His death shocked the nation. Crowd mourned. Many Nigerians view him not merely as a ruler, but as a symbol of change interrupted. And decades later, people still debate what Nigeria might have become if he had survived. Almost 50 years later, why does Murtala Muhammed still matter? Because despite ruling for less than 7 months, his impact remained enormous. Today, his face appears on Nigeria's 20 naira notes. Murtala Muhammed International Airport carries his name. Many Nigerians still remember him as a decisive leader who acted when others hesitated. Others argued his rapid military style created instability and backlash. Both views continue to exist. Perhaps that is why his story remains powerful, because he was not simply a hero, or villain, or victim. He was something more complicated. A man who changed Nigeria and paid for it with his life. So here is the question. Was Murtala Muhammed killed because he was reforming Nigeria? Because he moved too fast? Because powerful people lost influence? Or because military politics had already become too dangerous for anyone to survive? Maybe the truth is somewhere between all of them. One thing is certain. On that February morning in 1976, bullets did more than killed a man. They changed the direction of a nation forever. And perhaps the most haunting question remains, what would Nigeria look like today if Murtala Muhammed had lived? If you enjoyed this documentary, share your thoughts below and subscribe to this channel. See you next time on our next video.